Okay, we have about 2 minutes before we start. But if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and enter your name into the chat so that we have a record of you being here. I'll also save the chat as a reference.
Hey, Alicia, are you seeing like my screen with all the notes, or are you seeing the
I'm seeing the
actual?
slide, the intro slide.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Hi, Dr. Busby. Hi, Katie. Welcome in.
Hello, how are you?
Doing well, you?
I'm doing well.
Great.
I just do audio.
Hi, this is Nancy. I don't know if you can hear me, but I cannot get my chat to work, so you may not be
I,
getting replies from me.
I got you, Nancy. What's the spelling of your last name?
MCCONNELL with Cherokee County.
MCCONNELL.
NNELL.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But that just means that when you have a comment to make, you need to unmute and share.
I'm giggling.
Hi, Steve and Richard. Welcome.
Are you doing well this afternoon, ma'am?
Doing well. Doing well. Thumbs up. Two thumbs up.
Sounds great.
All right. It is exactly 2:30, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I am Nalicia Morel. If I have not had the pleasure of meeting you, I get to work with curriculum and instruction and professional development, and I'm excited to invite you to our first day of our fall training conference for this year and the second session. If you have not done so already, please type your name into the chat. However, the truest indicator of you being present will be the survey that you complete at the end of the session. So if you've not logged into Brightspace yet, please go ahead and do so at some point during this presentation. Now might be a good time. But if you've already logged in, I want to encourage you to refresh your screen because I've just made that survey available. Also, any of the resources that Nate and Ken share with us today will be available in that space as well for later consumption. This session is being recorded. And without further ado, I'm going to kick it off to Nate and Ken from WIN-Learning to bring us in to what we need to win on.
Awesome. Thank you, Alicia.
You're
Hey,
welcome.
guys. My name is Nate Walker. I'm a customer success manager here with WIN-Learning. Yeah, on the call is Kim Bodie, who's our regional account manager. I think I'm going to be doing most of the presentation today. He's just going to hang out in the background and chime in if I mess up and say something wrong. Okay. Um, All right, so we're just going to go over everything that is available to you guys through the Department of Employment and Workforce. I'm going to try to touch on everything that I think that is important for you all to know, going through, the course, who we are as WIN, the courseware, as well as the assessments and the credentials that we provide. All right, so as Nalicia had mentioned, make sure that you are completing the survey that's in Brightspace. The deadline for that is going to be on November 6th. After November 6th, that won't be available to you guys. So as she mentioned, go ahead and get logged in and make sure you fill that out so you get credit. All right, so the agenda for today, I'm going to go over a little bit about who we are. If you're new to, adult ed, you may not know who we are. So I'll just do that real quick. Talk about the NWRC endorsement. We'll talk about the partnerships that we have in South Carolina currently. We'll also talk about the new sort of system that the Department of Employment and Workforce has put together in order to request proctor privileges. I'll go through that. Um, we'll go through all the courseware and assessments that are available to you, and then finally we'll have a little bit at the end of the session for questions and answers. All right, so the When Learning, it's headquartered in Kingston, Tennessee. It's a leader in preparing career readiness and has been since about 1996. Our program includes online courses and assessments. What they do is they teach and then measure the skills needed for successful employment. WIN serves a diverse range of educational institutions and organizations, including school districts, community colleges, adult ed, as you know, correctional facilities, and workforce development agencies. We also have employers and businesses out there that recognize our credentials as well, and I'll let you know who some of them are too. All right, so you can see the awards that we've won in the past. Our most recent being the Cool Tools finalists in 2024, as well as the Tech and Learning Awards of Excellence. All right, so the National Work Readiness Council, who are they? All right, they are a national nonprofit workforce advocacy organization. They were created in 2006 by the Chamber of Commerce, and they endorse all of our credentials. So they're the one who backs our credentials, the academic skills, the soft skills, and the digital skills that are available to you guys. Okay, this is the board of directors for NWRC. In case you know any of those people, they are on our board of directors for NWRC. All right, so that's a little bit of background about WIN. Now to talk about our courseware and credentials a little bit. What they do is they teach and they validate foundational skills. As you can see here in tiers 1, 2, and 3 of the building blocks competency model. Now, this model was defined by the U.S. Department of Labor. And the building block competency model, you can see, has 5 tiers of skills. So tiers 1 through 3 are those foundational skills needed for all industries. And tier 4 and 5 are more specific to specific industries. So what WIN's credentials do is they validate the skills that are in tiers 1 through 3 of this model. And the idea is, they would get tier 4 and 5 on site when they're employed. All right, so these are all the credentials and courseware that are available to you all. You got digital skills here. That's the credential. Well, let me start with Work Ready, I guess. The Work Ready credential, it measures the foundational math, reading comprehension, and data interpretation that's necessary for employment. Our digital skills, it's the credential that measures foundational digital technology skills, which are needed in the workplace and at home and just to survive everyday life. I mean, we know that tech is on the rise and it's never going to stop. So digital skills kind of gives people those foundational skills to be comfortable with that information. Then you have your soft skills credential that measures those attitudinal and behavior skills that are sort of hard to define and put your finger on, but they are, the most sought after skills from employers. That's what we hear from employers, and our research tells us is that everybody has these technical skills, or they can teach these technical skills. The problem is those soft skills people are lacking in when they come in for interviews and stuff like that. All right, so these are some current partnerships in South Carolina. You know that we partner with DO. We also partner with the Career and Tech Education, as well as the Assessments and Office of Assessments and Standards, with our Department of Ed contract. There are various locations throughout the state that people can go and test for credentials. You got your SC work sites, you got your adult ed sites, the Department of Juvenile Justice, Voca Rehab. You can see corrections, your CBOs, so your community-based organizations, as well as some post-secondary and tech community college. And these are some of the employers that we work with right now. All right, so DO is a partner with WIN and has made connections with employers, obviously. And due to those connections, we partner with DO on employer outreach. So as Do connects WIN with employers, we move pretty quick to train their team and help them implement their WIN solutions. And that looks different for every employer. Sometimes it's our courseware and assessments are pre-screened to interviews. Sometimes after the hire is made, they have to go through the soft skills curriculum or the academic skills curriculum in order to start their first day. It looks a little bit different in what capacity they're using our courseware and credentials, but they are using them.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I am going to give you guys a demo at some point, but I want to walk through the steps that are required to become an approved proctor for South Carolina Career Readiness Assessments. So to begin, the applicant has to email this SC Career Readiness at do.sc.gov and request access. And once that email is received, Do will respond with a link to the application. After you complete and submit the application, Do will then review it and determine its eligibility. And if it qualifies, you guys will receive instructions to register for a mandatory virtual proctor training. Right? And I can tell you those are being held on most Fridays as of right now. Once that training's completed, when Learning verifies the completion, we notify Do, and then Do sends a confirmation. And it has two important documents in that confirmation. You've got your computer-based TAM or the Test Administration Manual and the SC Career Readiness Agreement. The TAM is going to be more for your reference. It's like your testing Bible. It has everything in it that you would ever need to know about assessments. Now, your SC Career Readiness Agreement, that is one that you will have to sign and send back to Do. And once that's received by them, they would create your proctor profile and email you the login credentials. And then as a proctor, you'll have the abilities to enroll learners, launch assessments. And what this process does is it ensures that like all proctors are properly trained and authorized to administer the assessments securely and consistently. All right, so we're going to talk about the Work Ready courseware here. So research shows that all jobs require some level of math, reading comprehension, and analytical skills. And to put a number on that, I want to say that it's like 80 or 85% of jobs require some sort of level in those three competencies. The Work Ready courseware focuses on like the more academic skills that are needed for jobs. And we can see here that our Work Ready math builds that mathematical reasoning and problem solving skills. It includes things like calculating dimensions, costs, and percentages, things like that. Your Work Ready reading, that really focuses on reading comprehension and reasoning skills. And what that does is prepare learners to use workplace documents. So the skills that are in that sort of content, it's applying new vocabulary, following complex instructions, figuring out which documents to use for which scenarios and things like that. All right, your work ready data, that's your analytical skills. It's going to prepare your learners to interpret different sources of data. So being able to identify trends, drawing conclusions, and doing that from like various graphical representations. So you're going to have a bunch of different types of graphs, tables, and they need to be able to analyze and answer questions based on that information. All right, so this is the landing page for the academic skills courseware. You can see at the top there's three different tabs for the math, reading, and data. And on the left-hand side, it's going to give you an overview for each one. This screenshot is of the math tab. All right, so the overview is there. It's geared towards the math. And when we get into the demo, I'll actually expand this outline that's down at the bottom left. And that outline actually outlines every single skill that you're going to use in each level and each lesson. Now you can see the progress in the middle here. All of your stuff is going to be unlocked and look like this. The reason for that is we want you guys to have access to every lesson. That way, if you want to work with the entire class, you could project the lesson and actually go through it with them. Now, when your students log in, they're going to have to take this placement test that's up here. And that placement test will dump them into the correct level and the correct lesson. It'll meet them where they're at. And everything before that will have a green arrow, but everything after that will have a padlock. And they'll have to actually progress sequentially through the curriculum. When they get to the end of an end of a level, they have a post test there, and they need to earn a 80% or higher in order to go on to the next level. And once they get that 80 or higher, they get this E badge. Now, if you receive all 5 E badges, you could earn a certificate of completion, which is different than the credential, but it's still valuable. The certificate of completion shows that you actually work through the entire curriculum. And let's see, on the right-hand side, you can see those achievement levels down there. These levels actually correlate with ONET job zones. So if you're not familiar with ONET, it was created by the Department of Labor. They came up with over 1,000 occupations, and they assigned it a job zone of a level 1 through 5, depending on what type of skills you needed to pursue that career. So if a student were to achieve a level 3 in our courseware, in our credentialing, ideally they would have the foundational skills to pursue level 3 jobs that are in ONET. And that'll make a little bit more sense once I pull ONET up and show it to you all. Okay, here's a sample of the work ready credential. This is a level 3. It's the front and the back. You can see here the front of the credential has the learner's name. It has the governor's signature and the state seal. And it has a little bit of information about the credential. Now, the back is the important piece. It has additional information about all the skills that are learned at that level. So they can earn this credential after passing the 3 55-minute proctored assessments, right? So 55 minutes for math, 55 minutes for reading, and 55 minutes for data. And I do like the back of this because it does outline the skills that they have accomplished by testing into this level. You can see here that it has a 3, 3, and a 5, right? So 3 for math, 3 for reading, 5 for data. They would have an overall achievement level of 3. So it takes the lowest common from all 3. Now, a student could retest to bump up these other levels to get them up to a 5. That's fine. They don't have to take all 3 again. So because the common level across all 3 assessments was an achievement level 3, that is the credential level that the learner earned. And that's what I was just saying. All right, your digital literacy. So we all know that technology plays a significant role in the workplace. In order to be successful, job seekers and employees need an understanding of the purpose and capabilities of digital tools. So our courseware, it provides a foundational knowledge of digital literacy in terms of hardware, software, and how you use it in the workplace. So you've got computer operations. That's going to go through like device types, parts of computers, laptops, mobile devices. It touches a little bit on operating systems and like some common software apps. Then your next module is your internet browsing. It goes through what is the internet? What is the World Wide Web? How to conduct appropriate internet searches. Digital communication, it's different methods of communicating, which include like email, video conferencing, social media, and texting in the workplace. Then you have digital documents. It's info and practice using various types of software. So this is where you're going to get info on like word processing and spreadsheets, different online forms, and really which document is best to use in specific situations. It'll touch on Android, Apple, and Google. So digital documents is probably the biggest module, and in my opinion, probably one of the most important. If not first or a close second to digital documents is digital security. That stresses the importance of security policies and procedures. So things like password protection and ways to avoid spam or phishing attempts. And just a reminder, each one of these modules includes appropriate use of skills in a professional setting. So that is something that sort of sets us apart, is that all of our curriculum, all of our testing, all our scenarios are all at appropriate workplace scenarios based on the level of the learner. All right, so this is the digital skills courseware landing page. Looks very, very similar to the academic skills. Your overview, your outline is over here on the left. And again, the only difference between academic skills is you don't have to work sequentially through this. All right. So if you take a pretest, it'll open up the entire module for you. And so again, you don't have to go sequentially. You can kind of bounce around. If you want them to hit on specific topics, you can do that because it doesn't require them to go in order. But same sort of idea, 80% or higher on the post test, you get an e-badge. When you get all e-badges, you get a certificate of completion. All right, here's the digital literacy skills. Really, really similar to the academic skills credential. Again, I love the back of these things because it gives learners what they know. And sometimes learners don't know what they know. And especially when they go on like interviews and things like that, this gives them something to sort of, prepare and be able to brag about themselves, which they need to do in interviews. Keep in mind that this digital literacy assessment is 60 minutes. It's not 55 minutes per, like the academic skills. And again, this is all aligned in detailed work activities that are in ONET. So I can tell you that this assessment, what it does, it measures their digital literacy. It refers to the ability to find, evaluate, use, create, and communicate information using different digital technologies. And mastering basic digital skills, it gives job seekers an advantage in the employment process and opens up many new career opportunities. And then soft skills. So soft skills, again, are those behavior and attitudinal skills that lead to success or failure in the workplace and the world in general. Right? So we put together our soft skills curriculum and made it into 4 modules, which you can see on the screen right now. We've got communicating effectively. That's going to be spoken communication, listening skills, customer service, things of that nature. You've got conveying professionalism. I'm talking about trust and integrity, work habits, and managing time there. Promoting teamwork and collaboration, just being an active member of a team and leadership within a team. And then thinking critically and solving problems, being able to adapt to new information, diagnose problems, and just the whole process of decision making. So as with all our career readiness solutions, the soft skill questions are set in the workplace. They encourage learners to think about options and how their behavior affects coworkers, customers, and the business that they work for. Right? And I'll go over this in the demo as well. All right, so as a student begins to use our soft skills courseware, they complete a pre-test that provides an introduction to the soft skills. Next, they spend some time in the instructional content. Again, it's workplace-based. And all the content and videos, they're interactive and they provide examples of situations. They provide good examples and bad examples of situations that occur in the workplace. And it really encourages learners to think of situations from an employer's point of view. And then just like our digital skills, each soft skills module, it has a post-test and e-badges, and those can be earned scoring at 80% or higher. And once you've earned all of the e-badges, you again would get a certificate of completion. Now, there are a lot of videos that are in the soft skills curriculum, and what we've done is we've taken those out and put them into a video library. And that's going to be separate from the courseware. So they're embedded in the courseware, but we've also made an additional thing available to you all where we have taken all the videos and put it into a searchable sort of database. And the video library provides students and educators time to view the videos outside of the courseware. Now, in addition to online courseware, our soft skills courseware has curriculum that you can use offline. So this is good for like face-to-face and group activities and workshops. So we really tried to make like a blended sort of learning model that provides exercises and activities for practice and learning in like that low risk environment with their peers. The offline courseware, it includes a facilitator guide, which is like your script if you want it to be, but it also has a learner activity guide, which has all like skeleton notes, guided practice, as well as like, other handouts and tangibles that the kids can have to go along with the lesson. This can all be accessed from the courseware portal. I'll show you where in the demo. But the facilitator guide, it includes formative assessments, summative assessments. It's got PBL, project-based learning activities. And the activities can be used to supplement the online learning, which is very cool. You might use them to group teach. You can assign them for activities outside of class or assign them to include a review of the videos in the video library. Now, this model, online and offline learning, it allows learners to observe, discuss, and practice appropriate workplace attitude and behaviors. We all know like the more avenues that we supply in terms of learning, the better that everybody will learn. All right, and here's the credential for soft skills. Again, just like the other credentials we showed you, the front of the credential displays the student's name. It's got the governor's signature and the state seal, and the back of the credential shows the skills. All right, now this is the professional skills credential. So what this credential does is it combines two existing credentials, the soft skills and the digital literacy credentials. So because soft skills and technology are necessary for success in the workplace, and employers place a huge importance on these skills when making hiring decisions, Do partnered with us to create this new credential just for you guys. It's relatively new still, but it took a couple of years to come up with this credential. But when students take both soft skills and digital literacy assessments at the same time, they can earn this new combination credential. Okay. Again, the front shows the name of the credential and the credential holder, as well as the date earned. It's got the governor's signature. It has the SC Works logo for this one. And in the world of stackable credentials, this is a credential validating a mastery of foundational skills in the arenas of soft skills and digital literacy. So these skills, they transcend across all industries, and the credential provides a common language for educators, job seekers, and employers about the level of preparedness. This is the back. And just like all the other credentials, it goes through the skills that the learner knows. Again, all our credentials are endorsed by National Work Readiness Council. All right, so we're going to go over some reporting in the demo as well. We have a lot of reports, but I'll go over the most important ones. And some of our reports show details at like the student level, such as the learner listing and the individual reports. They show student scores for progress in the courseware, along with the dates and times that the students worked in the courseware. These reports also show assessment scores and achievement level earned, and credentials can be printed by both you and the students from the reports area. All reports can be exported to Excel, and we will look at every single one of these in a little bit more detail once I open up the training portal. All right, so a little bit more on the reports. There are detailed reports to track the progress of an individual participant. You can see here, the summary of participant data, and it captures the date of an activity, when it was completed, when they started it, when they ended it, the total amount of time in the session, any modules that they accessed, the type of content they were working with, the scores they got, any e-badges, certificates, and credentials. It gives everything. So when a certificate or a credential is earned, you can see a hyperlink will appear for the participant or facilitator to print the achievement. So all of our reports can also be, as I mentioned before, exported to Excel. All right. Are there any questions so far? Because I think we're about to get into the demo.
There is one question in the chat. What is the difference between earning the professional skills credential and the individual credentials for digital literacy and soft skills?
Yeah, so really you could earn two individual credentials, soft skills and digital. Um, it it's just if you want to streamline the testing process, the assessment process, and get that professional skills credential, you can have them test at the same time.
So if a student took both assessments but not at the same time, they would not qualify for that.
Correct. Correct. They would, if they took the soft skills and the digital literacy separate,
Mhm.
and passed them both, they would not get the professional skills credential. You would have to sit for the professional skills assessment, which gives them both of that information, test them on both that information at the same time.
So that's one assessment,
I
testing
believe
in both of
so.
them.
It'll be two assessments. There's no real difference. It's just a push from the state because they wanted that one credential for both of those skills being obtained, and they wanted just a way to showcase that.
Okay.
Um, but in order to earn the professional skills, all they would have to do is click on the professional skills assessment. Then they would have to go through both of those 60-minute assessments. But both, I would say, both credentials are recognized and accepted by employers across the state.
Understood. So yeah, to answer the follow-up question, the questions, what's being assessed is essentially the same.
Correct.
Certainly.
I had a question. One of your earliest slides showed the partners that you have secured through your partnership with Do. If we have programs on the call that want to learn more information about how they can connect their students to those organizations and companies and workplaces, is that something that you guys can facilitate?
Yes, we can, and we could definitely connect them with Paul and our partners that do as well to have those conversations. Because what's happened is that our consultants have done a job analysis at those specific jobs, basically tying in what skills or scores are needed on those assessments in order to get those participants hired at those companies. So it's just an easier way for your learners or your clients to get their foot in the door at those different employers across South Carolina.
Understood. Because I've fielded several calls from Lisa Norris, who also works with you guys, with companies reaching out to her, asking about where they can connect with local adult ed programs. I think it would be great if we could just have that list and make it available to our programs who do have students completing the WIN test so that they could refer them and it could be a true partnership.
Absolutely. We'd love to. We'll share that out. Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Right. Thanks for the questions, y'all. Let me get into my other screen here. 1 second. All right, here we go. Okay, so let's go into the portal for you guys. Forgive me, it timed me out while I was in the slide deck. All right. So when you guys log in, this is what the landing page is going to look like when you first log in. All right. It's just a home page. It's got some quick start links. Any updates that we're dealing with will be there in the middle and some resource links on the right-hand side. You're going to be using this banner up here the most. Okay. All the functions that are within this. Your dashboard function. It's just a quick snapshot of how many learners you have enrolled, how many are actively learning, the hours logged, the e-badges earned. That is like a snapshot at this current moment in time of what's going on. Now, this is a training portal, so these numbers are going to be all weird and not really make a whole lot of sense. Yours would look a lot better. Okay. Now, for these numbers, you got different graphical representations down here, in case you ever have to like to brief a company or anything like that. These are good things that you can print off. Your assignments, I'm going to skip over the assignments section, and I'm actually going to bounce over here to admin, and we'll work our way backwards. Admin is where you're going to be able to look up any user and add users as well. So all of that is going to be underneath the user administration. So on the left-hand side, you've got your user type. And this is a training portal, so I have different roles in here than what you would see. But you would choose the role that you want and you would choose your organization. You would go and you would find your adult ed location. If you wanted to narrow it down some more, you could put in these other fields. But when we search, these are all the staff members that are in my training portal right now. Okay, so I have 1,204 staff members within the training portal. If we wanted to do learners, we could look up student. And you can see that we have a little over 1,200 students in the training portal as well. Now, I don't know if you noticed because I did that kind of quick, but there's different information here than what you see with your staff. Okay, so you have some different information depending on the type of role that you're looking up. Okay. Speaking of the information you can see, you can adjust what you see here as well. Everything that has a funnel, you can narrow down. So let's go to our roles and say I only wanted to see school admins. I could funnel out all my school admins. If you didn't want an entire column, like maybe you don't care about their last login date, you can click your column chooser and uncheck last login date. And you can see that column disappears. So this is good if like you're printing test tickets or something like that. You can decide what information that you want to include. And then once you have the information you want in your grid, you can export it up here. You can export all the data, or you can select a few pieces of data and export the selected rows. All right, now for your staff, your row actions, this gear icon is how you're going to be able to edit your current staff. So you can see you got options here. You can edit them. You can reset their password. Now for your staff, you're not going to be able to see their current password, but you are able to reset them. You can deactivate them if they no longer work for you guys. You can change their role. Maybe they move from, a teacher to an admin or something. And you can actually impersonate also. Let me go in here to the edit user. So you can't edit their user type or the organization that they're in, but you can edit their name, their email, and their permissions. The reason that you can't edit these two top ones is because you do have the option to change their role and transfer the user here. You just can't do it from the profile. Now, if you look at the students, you can actually view their password. So if the student's like, oh, I don't remember my password, you can tell them, well, it's this. Okay. But you have the same options over here. You can edit them, you can reset their password, deactivate, you can transfer them to a different school. If they mess up on their placement test or they don't take it seriously, right? You can reset their placement test so they can try to place into the academic skills a little bit higher. And then these are more for like your assessments, which I'll show you in a bit.
Hey, Nate, I just wanted to clarify something real fast. Because of the recent changes with do at the top, they actually changed the permission levels for you all in adult education and their partner types. When you log in, you'll only be able to see your list of students and participants within the portal. And yes, you'll be able to edit their options, but you won't be able to add other instructors to the portal, just because Do wanted to have a little bit of a um, more diligent process of getting proctors approved across the state. So in order to become, obviously a new proctor, as Nate hinted at earlier with that chart, you'll have to go through the proctor privileges training in order to get those permissions. And if you needed staff added, they would have to go through that. So I just wanted to clarify that before we go any further. So sorry.
No, you're good. Thanks, Ken. Yeah, that's a relatively new process, guys. But he's absolutely right. When you get in, you will be able to add students and things like that, but you will have to go through the proctor process with Do if you wanted to become a proctor and have those other privileges. Thank you, Ken. All right. So let's talk about if you wanted to add a student. All right, up here at the top, this plus sign, you would click, and you're going to add the user type of student. You can pick what organization you're at. I usually choose this one in our training portal. You can give them their first name, their last name, an email. I like to check this here. That makes their email their username. Give them a password. Make sure you hit all the criteria. And then these are accommodations. If they have or need accommodations, this is where you'd fill out this section. All right, so speech stream is going to be your oral admin accommodation. You've got ASL, American Sign Language, and then you have your extended time options. Okay. For extended time, you can do it by factor or by minutes. So you could do a double time accommodation, or you could add, 60 minutes to the assessment or whatever the accommodation calls for. And that's how you would add a student. This unique identifier field, this is more like an internal thing. So if you guys have an internal thing within your organization that would help you guys keep your students organized, you do have to put something here, but it's not indicative of our system. All right, and then you can see Daffy Duck was added. So that's how you add a user. All right, let's go over to your products. Let's take a look at some of this courseware and assessments. All right, I've got a lot of stuff here, guys. Remember, I'm in a training portal. All you're going to have is the digital skills courseware, the assessment, the soft skills courseware and assessment, and the academic skills basics courseware and assessment. So let's take a look at academic skills courseware. This should look familiar from the slide deck. We've got our 3 tabs up here between math, reading, and data, each one with their own outline that explains what is being covered in each lesson of each level. Again, it's all unlocked for you. The student takes the placement exam. They get placed in here somewhere. Everything afterwards is padlocked, and they got to work sequentially through the program. 80% or higher on post tests to get e-badges. All 5 e-badges, you get a certificate of completion. Remember that our achievement levels correlate with O-Net job zone levels as well. All right, now let's look at if we wanted to assign an assessment for academic skills. So this is what an assessment, or where you would assign assessments at. You would choose where your school is. And you can, if you have classes created, you can search by class, or you can search by learner. You've got advanced search options down here as well. All right, here are all the learners that are associated with this Fain Career Tech Academy. If you want to add all of them, you can just click Add All, or you can go one by one. And you can see as I click the Add button, they're populating down here in this, we call this the assessment grid. I'm going to add all of them. Oh, 408. No, I'm not. Just kidding. I'll just click on a few. All right. So some of these students, well, one of them, you can see has an accommodation. So Julie Andrews has an accommodation and it lists it here for you so you're aware. Um, we recommend only testing one assessment at a time. So when they finish the math, then you would assign the reading. When they finish the reading, then you would assign the data. All right. So to do that, though, you would just check off who you want to assign or who you want to test. You click apply changes, confirms. And now all of these students, when they log in, they're going to see the work ready math assessment available to them and they can take it. Now, you really don't need to go past this screen. As students or learners finish their assessment, the score is going to populate in this blank white space here. So once you see, and it's actually going to uncheck the box for them as well. So once you see that all the scores are here, excuse me, I didn't mean to click that. All the scores are here and all the boxes are unchecked, you know that you got everybody taken care of. You can go further if you want to the monitor assessments. You see how it says 6 learners? The only reason I stay away from this button is because if you get to 30 or more, it sort of bogs down the system a little bit. So we recommend only testing, up to 30 at a time. But this page here, I'll show it to you regardless. It just shows the student where they're actually at in the assessment, and you've got some actions here. Okay, you could pause it for them. You could resume it for them. You can give them extended time if you forgot to put that accommodation in their profile. You can even save it for them and submit it for them. All right, so let's say they all completed your work ready math. You would uncheck this. You would come over, then assign the reading. Click apply changes, confirm. And now they will see the reading available to them. And you just play that game until you're done with all the assessments. Now, when you're done, when they complete all 3, they don't disappear from this assessment grid. So I recommend you just clearing out any students you have in there so there's no confusion later on. And then it's ready for the next person. All of our assessments, whether it's academic skills, whether it's soft skills, they all are set up the same exact way. The only thing that changes is the assessment grid because soft skills only has 1. Work ready has 3. Your digital skills assessment only has the 1. And your professional skills, I don't have in here because it's the training portal, but your professional skills would have both the soft skills and the digital skills. Kind of like the work ready had 3, your professional skills would have the 2. Okay, let me show you the soft skills courseware, just the landing page for it, because that wasn't in the slide deck. Again, remember, there's no placement test for this. So if a student wants to open up communicating effectively, all they have to do is take the pretest. The pretest doesn't determine anything, really. It doesn't let them skip lessons. All it does is kind of give them an introduction to what they're going to expect in this module. So, I mean, essentially, a student could open up communicating effectively by taking the pretest. They could jump all the way to the post-test. I mean, that is something that they could do because they're not really required to go sequentially through the curriculum. This is a benefit for teachers because the outline allows you to focus on specific things, right? If you want them to focus on their leadership skills, you can go to promoting teamwork and collaboration, lesson 2, and they'll work on their leadership skills. All right, post tests are done the same. 80% or higher gets you an e-badge. All e-badges get you a certificate of completion. All right. The only other thing I really want to, digital skills, the courseware, it just looks the same. It's exactly the same, just with the different modules for digital skills. But there is an academic skills basics here that I think is worth talking about. Let me go back here. If you remember in the academic skills course where there's a placement test, if they don't do well enough to get into to be placed into level 1, it's going to automatically revert them to this academic skills basics, which is like the pre-foundational skills to be able to get into at least level 1. All right. And that is all your courseware and your assessments. I do want to show you that what goes along with soft skills, the offline materials. They're not under products where you think they would be. They would be under resources in the soft skills courseware offline materials. And if you remember from the slide deck, there's a facilitator guide and a learner exercises for each one of these modules. You've got them in English and in Spanish. And at the bottom, you have these capstone projects, which are like your culminating activities, kind of assesses all of the soft skills into, a few projects. But really, really good material here. This facilitator's guide is great. I mean, it is a script. It's everything you would need to know to be able to teach a lesson. All right. Also under resources is ONET. So I had mentioned ONET. I just want to pull this up for you guys. This is the database the Department of Labor came up with. If you were to scroll through and count all these, there's over 1,000. So there's different ways to search for occupations that learners may be interested in. They can type in what they're interested in. You can also search based off of their achievement level. Because remember, their achievement level correlates with the job zone for ONET. So if they're getting an achievement level 3 in the work ready or academic skills, you could search for job zone 3, which is medium prep needed. And it's going to pull up all the job zone level 3s. If you were to click on one of these, it gives an unbelievable amount of information. Okay. Really good for like career exploration and research projects and things like that. But it goes into all the different work activities, the job zone and what is actually needed for a job zone 3. They can look at areas to get training and credentials that speak to this occupation. If there were apprenticeship opportunities, it would have a search field just like this one underneath apprenticeship. The skills, the knowledge, the education needed, your interests, the most important part, how much they're going to make. They can look for jobs pertaining to that occupation. And then my favorite section, which I don't know why they don't put it at the top, is these related occupations. Okay, a lot of times, students don't know that what they're interested in can go across many different types of occupations. Like if you get a student who wants to be an accountant, they could look at being like tax prep and bookkeepers as well. I mean, there's other things to look at. And that's just a quick rundown of ONET. All right, let's go into reports. So you can see all the reports that are here for you. Learner listing is probably our most popular. All our reports are set up the same way. On the left-hand side, you've got your filtering options. You want to choose your organization. You can narrow down the product that you want to focus on. I'm just going to keep all my products up. And you can do the date range. Let's do last year. All right, maybe last year was a little too ambitious. Let's do last month or this month. There we go. All right, so for this month, Quinn Harmon is the only person that has activity in my training portal. Okay. Anyone who did anything in the system within your organization will show up here though. All right. I only have one because it's the training pool. But if I expand on Quinn, you're going to see everything that they have done. So they did the placement test for work ready math. It gives you the score that they got. It shows every course that they went through in level 1. And it shows they got an E badge for level 1. So you can really go down and you can view everything that a person has done. Now, if you know the individual that you want to look up, you can go into your individual report. And Quinn was our person. And for individual reports, anything that kind of fits this filter, it's going to be shown up at the bottom. So if your screen isn't big enough and you don't see anything, make sure you scroll to the bottom. And let's pick on Quentin Atlas. Well, Quentin Atlas did nothing. So let's try the other one, which was Harmon Quinn. It should take us to that screen that we saw before. So you can search individually that way. Your credentials summary is a good one to know. All right, pick our organization again. And these are all the credentials for last year. Okay, so it shows the achievement level for each credential. And you can print them from here. And notice that these numbers don't line up, right? You've got more individual score reports than your credential certificates. And the reason is because everybody is going to get an individual score report. All right, regardless of how they do on the credentialing system. If, a student may not receive a credential after they're done with the assessment, that's why this number would be lower, but everybody receives an individual score report, excuse me. All right, you also have objective-based reporting. And we'll see how this looks in the training portal. We'll give it a go here. You pick your organization. I'm going to go with last year. Hopefully that won't take too long. Okay. So these are all the learners that have activity as of last year. And these are this is like your mastered, not mastered list. Okay. So if we look at the account demo and expand this out, and find out where those 5 skills are. There they are. So they did work in the soft skills. So it looks like they have mastered 1 post test, but need help on 4 other post tests. And you can scroll down to see which ones they worked on. So they were in the thinking critically and solving problems module. There are 5 objectives within that module. On the pre-test, they did not do well on any of them. But on the post-test, it looks like they did some work in data and visual displays because they mastered that concept. You do have an assessment column over here. If they do go for the credential and take their 60-minute proctored assessment, it will tell you within the assessment which objectives they have mastered. That way, if they didn't pass, they know where to go back and where to focus. All right, and that is all the reports I want to show you. Last thing I'm going to go through with you guys is the WIN Resource Center. So our resource center is super robust. We've got a lot of stuff on there for you to view. So any sort of trainings that we have done, we post the videos on here. Any sort of slide decks that we do, PowerPoints, things of that nature get posted on here as well. So on the landing page, when you open up the WIN Resource Center, you've got resources for your courseware. So maybe you don't remember some things about academic courseware and what the placement test is. You can click on that. It takes you to a placement test test section with screenshots and how to navigate through the system with that. So any sort of courseware materials are going to be under this courseware section here. Notice you have your quick links here at the top, but you also have some things down here at the bottom. This Learner Quick Start Guide is amazing. It's really, really good if you have, for someone who's actually getting into the system for the first time. We have a staff version and we have a learner version. The courseware accessibility features, these are just universal accommodations that are built in to the system. And it goes over what those are. Any sort of assessment resources are going to be right here. Okay, so if you forget how to, find a participant, it's going to walk you through that screen that I went over and how to actually search for a participant. Again, you got a learner quick start guide here. You've got assessment accessibility features. You got a formula sheet and some sample questions to help them prepare. All right. You won't see this career exploration section, but you will see at the top this WIN-CR system. Now, this has to deal with the system itself. So you can see all these quick links at the top. These all pretty much pertain to this top ribbon here. So if I didn't go over assignments today, but say you wanted to get a little bit of information on how to do that, you can click on assignments. It'll go through the assignment manager and how to assign things. Reports, we have so many of them. I can't expect you to remember all of them. If you're trying to figure out what the best report is to use, you can come here and you can click on each individual one. It gives you a rundown and screenshots. And then the last thing is this video library. Now, these are videos that we have created over here at WIN. So, our support team, our customer success reps, as well as our account managers, we get calls all day long answering questions. And some of the most important questions or most asked questions, we develop videos around those and post them to this video library. So like, for instance, if you ever wanted to create a class, this shows you a quick way of how to do that. How to launch assessments, which we covered today. But if you need a refresher, quick video on it. And speaking of video library, that reminds me that there is a video library in your products as well. And this is the library from Soft Skills. So every single video that is within the Soft Skills curriculum, we have pulled out and put into this searchable database. Okay. So you can, scroll through all the videos and find what you want. Notice all of them are only like a minute long too, 1 or 2 minutes long. It'll tell you which product it pertains to. It'll give you a summary. But like, say you wanted to search for a specific thing, maybe you wanted to do collaboration. It will give you all the videos that have to deal with collaboration. So these are great conversation starters. They're really good, like warm-ups and launches, and really like time fillers. If you need something to fill time, you can show one of these videos and kind of talk about what's acceptable and unacceptable in the video. All right, so I think that is it. I know that's a lot, but I think that's it for the online demo portion. Is there anything that anybody wants to see while I'm in here before I switch back to the last couple slides? Okay. All right, let me get back to the slide deck. 1 second. I'm sorry, guys, I'm not used to Zoom. All right, there we go. All right, so another reminder. Complete the survey and Brightspace. It goes away after November 6th. You want credit, do it.
Thank you, Nate.
You're welcome. I read the email, Alicia. All right, now this QR code, if you would scan that real quick, all this does is a survey on how I did today. So lots of surveys for you guys.
And if you would
And
like, Nate, I would be happy to forward over the survey results that we received through our LMS for your
that
session.
would be amazing. That would be great.
Yep.
And then this is our contact information. So Nalicia had mentioned Lisa earlier. She's our senior customer success manager. So she kind of works all over the nation, but she does do a lot of work in South Carolina. She's just unfortunately not able to be on this call today. So you may have some interactions with her. I'm Nate Walker. You got Ken Bodie, who's our regional account manager, who's on the call and chimed in a few times today. And then you got our support team, and our support team is utterly amazing. If there's anything I will put all of my money on, it's our support team, guys. So if you ever have any issues, feel free to give them a call. They're real people. They'll pick up the phone and they'll walk you through anything that you need. But you can also reach out to us as well. And I know we're a little bit early, Nalicia, but that's all I got.
No one is going to be upset about having some more time back to themselves, I'm sure. Thank you so much, Nate and Ken, for being with us today, sharing an overview of what WIN has to offer. And we will definitely remain in contact. We're already in contact. I look forward to that list. And I guess I could follow up with Lisa if I don't hear from either of you. But it was something that came to me as you were sharing that slide. I'm familiar with Michelin, and maybe the people on the call know way more than I do about how that works. But I think if we have a running list of our partners in the workforce, referring students that take the WIN test with us should be a seamless transition. So
Yeah,
if
I
it
agree with
exists,
you
I
completely.
need it. Yeah. And if you guys have it, you share it with me. But when I get it, I will also share it with the field.
Yeah, awesome. That'd be great because that's a huge motivator and a huge selling point for learners because they can see,
Absolutely.
they can see what the benefit is of the credentials. So
Yes. All right. Well, again, please complete the survey. That's the true indicator of you being here. I did take a snapshot of the chat and the people that showed up on the top, but your survey is what will allow you to earn professional learning credit for this session. Thank you again, everyone, and I look forward to seeing all of you, hopefully, tomorrow in person in
I'll
Columbia.
be there.
All right, you take care.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.